You've tuned into The Break Room, a weekly conversation about how the city of St. Augustine works, from those who do the work every day. Hosted by the City of St. Augustine's Communications Manager, Melissa Wissel, The Break Room offers a closer look at the city's programs and provides updates on current and upcoming projects. And now, your host for The Break Room, Melissa Wissel.
Welcome to The Break Room. Thanks for joining us. The Break Room is a place for us to get together for just a few minutes and take a break from our daily work, catch up with coworkers, and hear what's happening in and around the city. I'm Melissa Wissel, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. As the month of October continues with fire prevention and awareness, I've invited St. Augustine Fire Department's Operations and Training Chief, Chris Pacetti, to join me this week for his first appearance. Chris, welcome to The Break Room.
Thanks for having me.
So glad that you're able to come down and chat with us today. Just a little background, as you and I have gotten to know one another, Chris, you started your career in 1996 as a volunteer firefighter right here in Crescent Beach. After your training in St. Johns County here at FCTC, you did work around the state a little bit till you came back to St. Augustine about 12 years ago. You started here as a firefighter, working your way up the proverbial ladder, if you will, to lieutenant on Engine 42 before you were appointed to Chief of Operations and Training in 2016 under Chief Carlos Avalos. Tell us how it's been going.
Everything's been going great. Trying to get over this rough patch that 2020's given us over the, seems like this whole year. Seems like it's multiple years at this point.
COVID's just taken it out of everybody, just about.
It has. And that set up a bunch of challenges for us, just trying to keep our workforce healthy. And, where people call us in whenever they have those sicknesses and illness, that, trying to make sure they're healthy. And so far, they've done a great job, and we haven't really been affected by it.
You got to protect yourselves so you can continue to protect us.
Absolutely.
So let's start with your training responsibilities as Chief of Training and Operations. What all goes into training our new recruits and our firefighters?
Yeah, so my job kind of starts from day one. The orientation process, bringing them in, setting expectations for them, also answering, letting them know what our expectations for them and vice versa are. So when you get to become a firefighter in the state of Florida, you have to go to fire school, fire academy, and you go through firefighter 1 and 2 or minimum standards, you'll hear it called sometimes, and then usually EMT or paramedic school after that. But once you come to the city of St. Augustine, you find out it's a pretty unique area. We have a lot of old buildings. The construction type's really tough. It may vary from really thick slabs of coquina that are covered up by that, pretty gypsum board and everything, to just really old wooden buildings that have the wooden, the cedar wooden shakes, roofs and siding and things like that. So
Imagine they catch quick.
Yeah, fire spread's a big deal. It's something that we're always worried about. The city's also set up to funnel wind through the city. That was, well before we had air conditioning. That was the way they designed the city, so that it would catch the wind from the bayfront, funnel it down the streets, which is amazing during the summertime. It's not so good whenever you have a fire.
Right.
So we have all those unique challenges we try to set our new people up for. And then we also have our ongoing, training for ISO requirements and things that the state of Florida requires, and NFPA as well.
So talking about, you just mentioned the ISO rating. Remind our listeners about ISO. That was a really big deal a couple of years back.
That was. We were rated as an ISO 1 classification, which less than about 3/10 of the departments nationwide have obtained that. And a lot of things go into that. The amount of training we do, training for our new hires, training for our firefighters that are here, driver training, hazardous material, officer training. So there's a lot of that goes into it. But one of the neatest things about that is it's kind of a citywide award, if you will, or certification. It looks into how our water department gets the water and how well our water mains are maintained. How much water can we get out of the system? How often are they tested and serviced, the hydrants and everything? So it's really a big, a citywide award.
So it actually takes into consideration our infrastructure,
It
which
does.
we struggle with in a lot of ways. Obviously, everybody knows about our sunny day flooding and our sewers and such, but just the fact that something is working well in our water system, if that's a major component of ISO, and
Yeah.
we've made this very elite rating of an ISO 1.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about the guys from T&D and just the quality job they do to make sure we have enough water whenever the fire comes.
So when you show up to a fire, you got hydrants on the corners. How do you know what's going to come out of it?
So our GIS group did a really awesome thing for us. They created a map, and it gives us not only traffic and streets, your typical map, but it's also a map of the water system itself. So we can scroll our cursor over top of the hydrant icon, and it'll tell us how much water flows from any given hydrant. On some corners, we have hydrants that oppose themselves or oppose each other. And one may give us like a couple of 100 gallons a minute, and the one right across the street may be in the 2,000 or 3,000 gallon a minute range. So
I think I'd like you to tap the 2,000 gallons if
Yeah.
you're across the street from my house.
yeah. So
And that's is that on an iPad? I mean, you're driving down the street in your trucks and you've got that right at your fingertips?
yeah, we have Tough Books, what we call MDTs, mobile data terminals. So they can send dispatch information to us, and we can have those maps. If we show up to like a hazardous material spill or something like that, we can pull up information on there.
So you're ready to go as you're driving down the road.
Yeah, it allows us to gather more information as we're responding. One of the things that go into the ISO rating classifications is your response time and how quickly can you put your firefighters on scene. So the more information we can get, the quicker we can be, the better it is for our residents.
That's tremendous. I know your response times have gone down significantly.
Yeah.
One of the other components in our department is we have a marine unit
We do.
rescuing on the water. How does that work?
Yeah, so I'm not sure when exactly we got our first fireboat, but probably 12, 13 years ago. And that was brought to us from the Coast Guard. It was an old buoy tender, and she did a great job. And but a few years back, we were able to upgrade to a more modern fireboat. And, our city's completely surrounded by water if you look at the map. And we run on emergency calls in the water, anywhere from 80 to 100 of those a year. So
wow.
You're looking at every couple of days. Most of those are going to be crammed into the busier, warmer months. So we may go, a week or two in the winter without having a single call, and then we may have 4 or 5 on any given summer day. And those can range from boat fires to people falling off, getting struck by a prop, drownings, vehicles that go off the road into the water. So there's a lot that goes into that.
Chris, I'm going to take a quick second and let our listeners know you are listening to The Break Room. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. Today in studio with me is St. Augustine Fire Department's Operations and Training Chief, Chris Pacetti. We're talking about training and responding to emergency calls, talking about our marine response. We have an ISO rating. I've got to tell you, Chris, I'm so impressed with our department, with the certifications and the awards and the accomplishments. You were telling me about an aquatic rescue response team. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's from the USLA, the United States Life Saving Association. So their main job is they do the certification and qualifications for lifeguards, but they have this ART program, Aquatic Response Rescue Team, and that we were luckily enough to go through that process, and we've become the 23rd team in the nation. So
There's only 23?
23 so far.
Wow.
So it takes fire departments and it helps them become well-rounded. It's dealing with open water rescues, boat responses, vehicles in retention ponds, and just overall water safety and awareness and rescue techniques.
That's true. Well, congratulations for that accomplishment as well.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up today, we've still got a few minutes. There's a lot that goes into being a firefighter. I think we all see fire trucks and firefighters as parents and children. Everybody really loves to see the firefighter coming in and rescuing. But there's a toll that comes with that. And I know that our department has a special program or is involved with one. One of our firefighters has headed that up. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Nate Evans, one of our firefighters, he volunteered to take on the mental health side of it. Firefighting's a fantastic career. You get to help people, you get to do a lot of things, and it's exciting, it's rewarding. But there's also a big toll that it has on the firefighter and their families. It's nice to say that you just leave work at home or work at work and home life at home, but we all know they all intermingle. So it's tough to block out some of the things you see or you're exposed to on a daily basis. Nate's done a tremendous job working with the mental health side of things and, just making sure our guys are okay after calls, and he'll touch base. And, all of us do a good job of checking on each other, I think. But he's really gone above and beyond and brings different training to us periodically and makes sure that we're doing well in the mental health side. Cancer is another one that we try not to take home to our families because it gets on our clothes, all the carcinogens and things like that from fires. But some of the cancers out there are, we're in the hundreds or thousand times more likely to get than the average citizen. And a lot of that is from when your skin heats up, your pores open up, and all those carcinogens can seep into your skin.
And the chemicals that are really necessary for the apparatus to protect you is actually what can hurt you.
Yeah, our bunker gear, they're just trying to get away from it now. But for years, the bunker gear that we would wear has been treated to make it more heat resistant and fire resistant with chemicals that are now considered carcinogens. So sometimes even just trying to protect our guys is really causing them more harm than good.
And that's something that has come from at the state level where there's been some legislation changes that really helps.
Yeah, we got a great presumptive legislation bill passed, and they've tried for, I believe, 20 plus years to get that passed. But the University of Miami and some of the other colleges have done a tremendous job of researching and trying to really dive into what's causing it. And, once you start seeing the breakdown in numbers, like testicular cancer in firefighters is about 200 times more likely.
Wow.
So it's very eye-opening when you see that data.
Well, I have to tell you, Chris, the department here in the time that I've been with the city impresses me. The caliber of our firefighters, men and women, and the job that you do. Y'all are out in the community always. Everybody's always got a smile on their face. And I think that the training, it's interesting to listen to you talk about the training because it isn't just about fighting fires either.
No, there's we always joked that if the space shuttle landed on Ponce de Leon Boulevard, that they would expect the fire department to show up and take care of it.
Right.
And even if we've never been trained, never seen one in our lives up close, so there's a lot more that goes into it. I think part of it is we're not good at saying no. Maybe some of the other groups are smarter because they decline that task right away. And, we have to train for medical responses, and we go to cardiac arrests and falls and strokes and, any of those medical conditions that we get called for. We have car accidents, and, when people are trapped inside of a car, we have the jaws of life, re-extrication equipment to be able to cut them out. Hazmat's another thing that is relatively new in the fire service. It just became kind of a normal thing for us to handle in the 1980s. So there's, propane, natural gas, diesel, gasoline, unknown chemicals, the white powder calls that you used to see on the news a lot. All of those we're tasked to respond to, and that's in addition to our fire calls. So a lot of things to keep up with.
And we've got 2 stations.
We do. Yep, we have the main station downtown on Malaga Street, and then the Island Station, Station 2 is over across from the Alligator Farm.
And during COVID, you guys dispatched a unit over to the Florida School for the Deaf and the Blind?
We did. Our main station downtown, it houses the engine and the ladder truck. And we were concerned if someone got COVID, if it ran through our department, that could be a catastrophic thing for us. So Florida School for the Deaf and Blind was kind enough to open their doors to us since the students were gone, and we moved into one of their dorms. We moved the engine up there, and I can't say enough great things about them. They took great care of us, and housed our firefighters. And to be honest, I think it was tough to get them back because they really liked it up there.
Right.
We were able to capture a lot of data too in our response times.
Right.
Having an apparatus up there was a big deal. So let us do quite a bit of stuff. So thanks to them.
And more to come. Chris, we've run out of time, so I'm going to thank you so much for coming
Thanks
and talking with us. I want to come back and have you come back, and I want us to talk about some of that cool apparatus. The department's done some really neat things in acquiring a brush truck and a MRV and some other really neat things. So we'll have you back to talk about that.
Sounds good.
As we wrap up another edition of The Break Room, I hope we answered your questions. If we didn't, take a minute and drop an email to info@citysaintaug.com. We want to keep you informed about what's happening in and around the city, and most importantly, that you hear it here from the people doing the work and making it happen every day. Remember that in order to stay connected, you need to be connected. And this week, let's make sure you know how to stay connected to the fire department. You can like them and follow them on Facebook and Instagram at City St. Aug Fire. Like and follow the city on all of our platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City St. Aug. Until next time, thanks for stopping by.
You've been listening to The Break Room, a weekly program about projects and programs offered by the City of St. Augustine. We hope you'll join us each week as host Melissa Whistle and her guests have a conversation that helps you better understand how our city works to meet the needs of our community. See you next time on The Break Room.